Let's head to Woodsboro and rank the Scream franchise. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there, and I hope you all got a chance to see Scream 2022 over the weekend. Today we're going to rank this franchise, but before we get into it, like, comment, subscribe. Join me here. I greatly would appreciate that. Click on the little notification bell. That way every time I upload a video, you get notified. You can check out what's going on over here. Now we're going to go through all 5 Scream films, starting at number 5. Now, before we get into it, I will say I don't really consider any of the films in this franchise as a really bad movie or awful movie. I think they're all pretty good. Is there ones I like more than others? Of course there is. There's always going to be, whenever there's a franchise, you're going to have your favorite entries and the ones you think are the best. But inherently, this isn't like some of the other horror franchises. I think they're all solid films in their own right. And yes, number 5 is probably my least favorite, but I still enjoy it. But at number 5, Scream 3, it came out in 2000. Now, this was supposed to cap off the trilogy. This was supposed to be the last one. I enjoy Scream 3. I just think it's definitely the least best of the whole franchise. It's one I could sit down and watch. I think it's a fun film. I like the whole movie aspect, film set aspect of the whole film. I mean, yeah, they kind of go back and, you know, they kind of retcon the first film with this new revelation that Sidney has his brother, and he made a film and convinced Stu and Billy to go and kill Sidney's mother. But I think it's still a lot of fun. It's not quite as clever as some of the previous entries or even some of the ones that came after it, but I still enjoy it. So at number 5, Scream 3. At number 4, now this one was higher years ago. Now I think it deserves to be here, at least in my eyes. Scream 2 that came out in 1997. This is kind of a rushed sequel. This one came out a year later after release of the first film. This one's very 90s, very much a part of its era. I still enjoy this film. I still think it's a really solid sequel. I've always enjoyed it. I saw it twice in the theaters when it came out that winter in 97. I think it's a really strong sequel, and I like the reveal of the killers. Timothy Olyphant's great, and Billy's mom, being the revelation that Billy's mom is here to take revenge on Sidney for what happened to her family. Again, it's a very strong sequel. I just think now, like years ago, this would have been much higher, but now at number 4, Scream 2. At number 3, the one I just saw and the one that was just released, Scream 2022. Again, a very strong sequel. I enjoyed this film a lot. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I think they did a very nice job of picking up for Wes Craven because, again, like I said in my Scream spoiler review, Wes Craven passed away in 2015, and he had directed the first 4 movies in this series. So without Wes, a true master of horror around, I think they picked a nice directing team to come in and pick up the mantle and run with it, and pick it up and run with it they did. They paid nice respect to Wes Craven and what has come before, and I really totally enjoyed this film. So yeah, at number 3, Scream 2022. At number 2, I'm going to go with 2011's Scream 4, which was meant to kickstart a new trilogy that Wes Craven was going to direct if it worked out. Kevin Williamson came back to write the script. I really like Scream 4. I think it's a very underrated sequel in this franchise. I loved it when I first saw it in the theaters opening weekend back in 2011. I think it's very dark. I think it's very violent, and I think it's a very good Scream sequel considering that one came out 11 years after what was supposed to be the trilogy caper with Scream 3 in 2000. I think it's a very strong film. Mostly my problems with it are the way it looks. I don't like the way, and from what I read, it was Wes Craven's idea to shoot the film the way they did. I don't like the distortion, all the lens flares, the softness of it. I never liked the look of the film, but the film itself, the movie itself, the script, the acting, the way it all plays out, I really like it. So at number 2, Scream 4. This kind of makes number 1 pretty obvious, and again, like I said, none of these films are bad. I enjoy every one of them. I can sit down and watch any of them at any moment and have a good enough time with it. But the one I think is still the best, and it was the best when it came out in 96, Scream, the original Scream that came out in 1996, and pretty much kickstarted the slasher genre again, because slashers have been, horror in general have been down, although there was some really good horror films earlier in the 90s that get overlooked. This is the one everybody talks about. But this one really kickstarted the horror genre, brought it back to box office prominence, and brought back the slasher genre, because then we had I know he did last summer, Urban Legends, which I like those films, but they don't compare to Scream, the original Scream movie. And, you know, it took a master of horror with a really tight, inventive script by Kevin Williamson with a cool, hip, young cast to create something that slasher fans and horror fans embraced, and we're still going to see these films 25, 26 years later. And that first film, Billy and Stu were great killers. I mean, the last 10 minutes of the film and when they're in Stu's kitchen, madness, it's fantastic. It's fantastic madness. I always loved the ending, the killer reveal. And Wes Craven directed the shit out of that movie, just like he directed out the other 3-4 movies. So yes, at number 1, the original Scream. Those are my rankings for the Scream franchise. What are your rankings? Well, how would you rank this franchise? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this really great. Would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with a review for Blade 2 and a Karate Kid 2. But until then, bye.